Hello. Yes, 1212. Yes, what is going down? It is Ash here from the NTV iPlayer. Welcome back to another stream. Um, yeah, we're back. So a couple of days ago, I think it was last Thursday, to the exact. I did a stream and I toured my old Minecraft city called Grovewood, and as a follow up to that, I wanted to tour like look back at my other city, Los Ashleys, and I wanted to kind of do like a little look back on that city itself and just look back sort of all these years on. So if you didn't watch the first stream, go back and watch that because we had a look around Grovewood, which was it was a city project that I decided to work on when I sort of wanted to wrap the Los Ashleys city and sort of call it a day. And with the Los Ashleys city map, there was quite a few issues that I hadn't noticed like early on with the build, and then when we kind of got like further into the city, it was a lot harder to fix up the error and fix up the issues that was going sort of on in the city. And then sort of towards the end, I decided that I was just going to keep the Los Ashleys map sort of purely for the Park Drive series, and then we'd sort of like build on Grovewood and stuff, and then every now and again I'd get like the urge to go back and build on Los Ashleys, so we did. So sadly, just like the Grovewood map, I don't sadly own a PlayStation at current, and I don't think there's going to be any way that I could ever get these maps back, which is a real shame because it would be like really good to go around these maps again. And if ever there is a way that I can get them back, which I don't think is going to be possible because I got like completely blocked out of the account for PSN that the maps were made on, and I forgot a security question. But if ever I did happen to find a way to get back into the account, then by all means I would come back and I would actually tour these cities in full, and sort of like tour, sort of where we can go at our own pace rather than watching videos online. So sadly, I found this video from a guy called Ranger 100, and I do vaguely remember this guy. He sort of was building a bit of a city himself, but he was kind of someone who I think he helped on the map like now and again, but I think he just came sort of like every so often and just sort of like looked around sort of my city, and then one day he was like, can I tour the city? And I think that was like literally all he really did. So he took this video that's about 2 minutes and 18 seconds long, so it's not that long, and we'll just have a look and see what it is. I'm going to keep the sound on for this one because, I'm going to turn it down, but I'm not going to turn it fully down because he doesn't actually speak in this. It's just like a song that plays over the video. So let's get into this. Let's have a look. So right away we're greeted. I remember where this is exactly. So this was there was like a row of shops, and it was just outside where the Park Drive area actually started. So behind what you can't see on the camera, there's like a Tesco's, but you can see along here there was like there was a kebab shop, there was a Betfred. There was like a place to like fix your bikes. I think there was maybe like a dry cleaners, and then there was actually like Park Drive HQ. So originally, when I first built the Park Drive area, it was just a housing estate in Los Ashleys, and then sort of as we got filming Park Drive, I sort of wanted to turn it into like almost like it was like an actual television set. So I wanted to put like this sort of like HQ for Park Drive, and sort of have this sort of like HQ and have this like big film area like you would for sort of like EastEnders or Coronation Street, like a big area that's blocked off. So if you look down here, we're actually on Park Drive. So I remember these houses. That house with the fountain at the front was probably one of the houses that I hated the most. It just didn't look that good. And then I think we did try and like make it look a little bit better without like sort of knocking it down and rebuilding it. The wood house as well. I wasn't like overly keen on the wood house. Personally, I just thought it didn't fit the area. Like, you've got all these other houses across the road and the one next to it further along. And I just kind of thought it just looks a little bit like it just doesn't belong in the area. Almost looks like someone's taken the natural house down and just built something that really doesn't stand out. So we keep moving along. There's a truck there. That's the truck, believe it or not, that we used in episode 50 of Park Drive, and that's when we made it crash in. It crashed into the cafe, and that was kind of like the truck that we used, I think, if I remember rightly. Unless we'd built another purpose-built one, I can't fully remember, but I think that was the truck that we'd used. So here. It's sadly it's gone a bit blurry actually for me. I don't know if it has for you. But this was the house that started it all. This was Martin's house. This was the house with the green garage. And what always really annoyed me about this house is when I originally built the house, I like copied it off a house on Google Images that looked more or less exactly like this with a green garage. And ever since building this house, I've never been able to find that image again. Like, even now, like if you go onto Google and you type in like UK house, like some of the other houses that I replicated in Park Drive are in the Google Images, but the house with the green garage, for whatever reason, is just nowhere to be seen. But this this was where Park Drive actually started. The first episode was filmed outside of this house all them years back, which is crazy. And then the house next door, I think we did use it at one point, but it was never like a big location in Park Drive that I remember. So this was Oak Avenue. This went down to the local shop, or I think it was Post that we called it at this time, but we might find out. But oh no! Also, this was the SBSC arena. So this was where if you see inside, look, this was actually where we filmed the Derek and Noreen show. So we had like an arena, and we put like the Derek and Noreen set inside the arena, and there was kind of like touring, and the Derek and Noreen show was supposed to be like a rip-off of like Mrs. Brown's Boys. So it was like a purpose-built set in like an arena, and there was touring live, and you could actually watch it. And there was actually it was a replica at the front. If you look at the front, it was a replica of Park Drive. There was two houses from Park Drive that we actually took, and you can see we sort of rebuilt the houses, look, and then we built like Noreen's house across the road. So this hospital, I remember building this. It was very late on in Los Ashleys, and this was kind of where my building had, like, I would say kind of like it had gone up another level, and my building had improved. And this was kind of where I'd started building on Grovewood as well. And then I kind of just felt like this hospital looks really nice, but it doesn't like really fit the map, because I felt like the style of building had improved, and this was something more that would have looked nicer on something like Grovewood instead. When I was getting a little bit like, Los Ashleys, it doesn't look that realistic, it looks a bit outdated, I can build a lot better kind of thing. But really nice hospital, really nice design actually. And there was a shopping centre here as well that, looking back now, it doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look the best. and I did like a lot of what I'd done. With the shopping centre, like on these top bits here, I'd done like the parking was up there, and then you could come inside, and you could get into the shopping mall from the parking areas. But a lot of it just wasn't that good. A lot of it was just kind of like just big empty square really, and I could have detailed it a bit more. So we're in the first island now. Of the city, so we've jumped over to the first island, and there was this building here. I can't remember what it was called, but a friend of mine, Ant, actually built this, and it was a really like sort of difficult skyscraper to build, and we was always like sort of having banter, like I want to move this. I want to move this. I don't know if it was something like China Bank or something like Bank of China or something like that. And it was always like having banter about moving it, and he was like, I am not building that skyscraper again, because it was a really awkward shape, and it actually turned out really nice. But I just think in sort of like the more recent more recent sort of time in the map, we sort of like the buildings were improving, and I just wanted to move it to a better area. But really nice. It was like Bank of China or something. I think that's what it was called. The MetLife building there in the background was a Windows building. Little Tesco's here. There was another building here, and I actually never really liked that one. And then there was a news building next to it. This was probably the part of the city that I probably hated the most, because I just felt like some of the skyscrapers didn't look that good, and some of them just looked a little bit out of place, and so just didn't just didn't really look that good, to cut the story short. And I just felt like some of them needed like upgrading, but it was like demolishing half of the city to rebuild it, which I didn't want to do at the time. And then there was I think this was it 432 Park Avenue, and I remember watching a YouTube video to build it, and that's literally all I remember. It was a McDonald's building down here. I think eventually we moved the McDonald's, or we shut it down or something, but it was a McDonald's building with some like living apartments above it. There was I think this was originally an SBSC building, and then I turned it into the NTV Studios building. So it's like where the news and stuff was, where like the NTV news was programmed, where the studio for the news was, and the weather and stuff like that. And it actually was a really nice building, was this. It had a really nice vibe to it. And I think if I remember right, I don't think I built this, but I think I may have helped with it. Then there was like some other buildings. I think this was an Argos at one point, and it turned to a gym. There's quite a lot of stuff, different skyscrapers. There's some cafes and some hotels. And this was another hospital here. This was the hospital we actually used for Park Drive, because at the time the one we just looked at earlier wasn't built. And then down here, I don't actually remember where. Oh yeah, I know where this is. So these were two new big buildings, and there was like a gym at the bottom. And then if we look over here, there was a row of shops, and then behind the shops there was like a nightclub, and there was like nightclub stuff in it. There was another building here, again going back past the hospital, some more of the skyscrapers. I do apologise about the resolution being absolutely terrible, but you can see some more of these buildings here. And then there was like a construction site, there was the Twin Towers, there was the Candy Block Hotel, which was, we never finished that building, and it was so big and it was so awkward. And then there was like really nice with the China, Bank of China again, the news building. The old news building, actually, it was the old news building, and then we moved it. Construction area, with like loads of like warehouse places. So that is like literally it. So sadly, it doesn't. It doesn't sadly it doesn't show the it doesn't show a real lot of the map, which is a little bit of a sad thing. It was my biggest city project that I'd ever built. You know, I'd built loads of cities in Minecraft, and the challenge for me, because we always was kind of dealing with like getting griefed, and there was people always like, you know, trying to blow your buildings up and trying to put lava over everything. You know, if you sort of had a city and you still had the city like a year on, like that was quite clever. And we actually held Los Ashleys for 4 years. There was like 4 years that I spent sort of with the map, and then like I say, I just started building on Grovewood more, and then Park Drive finished, and then my music stuff. You know, that just sort of became more important to me, and at the time it was like, what do I want to do? Sit and play video games, or do I want to keep pushing the music? And you know, now I gig with, I gig all the time with music. I've just been signed to a record label. So stuff outside of, you know, just sitting and playing video games, as fun as they were, it just kind of became sort of like unnecessary. That I just thought, you know, I ain't going to be able to push my music if I'm thinking, you know, I've got to sit online and get an episode of Park Drive recorded. You know, it was one of them where, you know, I didn't want to sit there and do that and then not focus on the music, which was alternatively like my bigger passion. Like they were both hobbies, but I suppose the music was the one that I wanted to try and like make not a hobby. And then like this stuff like the Minecraft and the city building, you know, it was a big hobby for me, but I didn't want it to be like anything more than a hobby. Like I didn't want to get big on YouTube and start earning off it, and I didn't want to sort of like sit there and play video games for a living. I wanted to get out there and tour the country and play at all these different events and do all this music stuff, which is kind of what I'm doing now. You know, so that was kind of why everything sort of sort of came to how it was, and then the PlayStation just started collecting dust because I just wasn't using it. And then when I just recently come to Hull as well, I'd got a job helping a friend in his takeaway, and I just, like I say, I didn't really have time to come online. You know, I was helping him at the takeaway sort of over the weekends when I wasn't sort of getting a gig. And at the time, you know, we was in like lockdown and stuff, so there was no clubs open. But then I was like doing radio shows and mixes and trying to push my music to, you know, I guess you'd say the absolute maximum, and everything just sort of went from there. So that's sort of what happened. That's sort of how everything sort of spiraled, and how everything sort of got to where it had got to now. And yeah, we're here. You know, we're absolutely here. So yeah. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share. I'm not sure what we're going to do on this channel next, because we've kind of toured both cities. If I can find one of Kelton Village, then I'll have a little look. But the Kelton Village was a map that never really like went any further than, you know, we built Little Kelton, we built a little village just a bit further on from Kelton, and just essentially there was we just didn't really build it for that long, and it was only built for like a purpose-built set to have a little village with a post office. And then we sort of started to like the map, so we just didn't really do much more than that, but had a real nice like country UK vibe to it, and we just sort of left it at that, and that was kind of it. But if you know, I think the only footage there'll be is like the odd stream of me building it, and that would be no good for sort of like touring it or having a look over everything, because I'd just be like filling in a bit of road or something, you know. So who knows? I might be back live again if I've got a reason to be live. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share,